The distress call traveled through the dark of space for many days before it reached the distant human listening post on the edge of the solar frontier. It was a trembling signal, weak and uneven, filled with static and broken words. But even with all the noise, one thing was clear. Someone out there was afraid, and someone needed help. On the Virath homeworld, panic had already spread. Their planet's energy core, the one that powered their cities and balanced their climate, had begun to destabilize. Strange pulses came from deep underground, shaking entire regions and sending waves of heat that the Virath were not built to withstand. Their bodies were fragile, their skin thin, their bones light. Even a mild change in temperature was dangerous for them. They lived carefully and calmly, avoiding all forms of physical stress. The Virath scientists tried to study the core, but they could not approach the unstable zone without protective shells that cracked under pressure. Their machines overheated, melted, or simply shut down. Every day the pulses grew stronger. Cracks appeared near the lower continent. Plants turned gray. Water streams steamed. Something deep within the planet was waking. And the Virath knew they could not stop it alone. They sent out a request for aid to the Galactic Council, but most replies were apologies. The task was too dangerous, the environment too unstable, the risk too high. A few ships came, scanned from a safe distance, and quickly left. The Virath watched them go and felt the weight of hopelessness settle over their hearts. For the first time in many generations, their peaceful world felt truly unsafe. Far away, on the human outpost, the officers listened to the message again and again. Even though the call was vague, it was enough. Humans had a tendency to run toward problems instead of away from them. Within hours, the message was forwarded to Earth, where engineers and commanders agreed. They would respond. They prepared a rescue team made of geologists, structural experts, energy core engineers, and emergency specialists who had worked in the most dangerous environments known to humanity. They loaded supplies, stabilizing equipment, and heavy protective suits built for survival on the harshest worlds. When the Virath saw the human fleet enter their orbit, they expected something loud and intimidating. Humans had a reputation across the galaxy. Strong minds, strong bodies, too adaptable, too comfortable with danger. The Virath whispered among themselves, unsure whether to feel relief or fear. But when the human shuttle landed and the doors opened, the first thing they saw were calm faces and friendly gestures. The human lead engineer, Captain Aaron Holt, stepped forward with a soft smile, not a warrior's stance but a helper's posture. His team stood behind him, straight yet relaxed, studying their surroundings with curiosity. The Virath elders met them with trembling voices. They explained everything they knew, their hands shaking slightly as they projected holographic maps of the unstable region. The humans listened carefully. They asked many questions. They took notes. They made quick calculations on their wrist pads. Every moment of silence from the humans made the Virath more nervous, but the humans only seemed focused, not afraid. After the briefing, Captain Aaron turned to his team and spoke in a steady tone. They were going into the dangerous zone. None of them hesitated. The Virath were shocked. Other species had refused to even approach the area, yet the humans discussed it like they were preparing for a long walk. As the human team suited up, the Virath watched the heavy protective gear with wide eyes. The suits looked like metal shells with thick layers and helmet visors that glowed softly. A single human could carry equipment that weighed more than an entire Virath adult. The Virath could not understand how a species could adapt to such harshness and still smile so easily. The shuttle took the humans near the unstable region, and from there they walked on foot. The land was cracked and tilted. The air shimmered with heat. The ground trembled every few minutes, sending dust into the air. For the Virath, even standing in this place without machines would have been fatal. But the humans stepped forward with steady movements, checking their instruments, adjusting their scanners, talking calmly among themselves. The Virath watched from a safe distance through drones. They saw the humans treating the deadly area like an engineering challenge, a normal problem to solve. Every time the ground cracked, the humans simply moved away and continued working. Every time their suits detected pressure spikes, They adjusted their equipment and kept going. Their resilience felt unreal. Captain Aaron led the team to the nearest fault line, where strange glowing energy pulses pushed through the cracks. The humans studied the pulses, recorded them, and took soil samples. Their voices came through the communication channel, steady and controlled. They discussed the possible cause, the mineral structures, the pattern of the pulses. They were finding answers faster than the Virath expected. Hours passed. The Virath elders waited nervously, afraid something terrible might happen. Then a new tremor shook the region. A loud crack echoed across the ground. A massive chunk of land sank slightly. The Virath, watching from the drone feed, gasped in fear. It looked like the humans would be trapped, but instead of panic, the human team worked even faster. A few of them climbed a small rise to secure equipment. Others planted stabilizing spikes into the shaking earth. They moved with precision, as if they had done this 100 times before. When the tremors finally slowed, the humans regrouped, checked their gear, and continued deeper. By the end of the day, the humans returned to the Virath city with recordings, maps, and solid theories. The Virath gathered around as the humans projected their findings. The unstable energy pulses came from an ancient structure buried below the core layer. Something beneath the planet was not natural. Something old and forgotten had been placed there long ago. The Virath had never imagined such a possibility. Their history records were peaceful and never mentioned ancient conflicts or hidden devices. The idea frightened them, but the humans showed no fear, only concern. They explained that they needed to go deeper, study the inner layer, and find out what was disturbing the core. That night, many Virath could not sleep. They stood outside their glowing homes and looked at the sky, wondering why humans were willing to risk so much. The humans slept easily in their temporary base, tired but satisfied, preparing for the next day. In the morning, Captain Aaron met with the Virath elders again. He explained the next steps in simple words so everyone could understand. The humans would construct a support line on the lower ridge, then descend through the energy tunnel. They would try to reach the ancient structure and check if it was damaged or active. If they could stabilize it, the planet might return to normal. The elders nodded nervously, grateful yet anxious. They offered the humans cooling capsules, light shields, and guidance drones. The humans accepted the drones, but said their suits already had everything else. The Virath did not understand how one species could build technology strong enough to survive such extremes, but they trusted the humans. The second mission began. The humans walked across a field of cracked stone, where hot steam escaped from thin vents. They climbed a rocky ridge that glowed faintly under their feet. Their scanners beeped rapidly, warning of pressure pockets and high energy levels. Still, they moved forward, careful and steady. The Virath watched through the drones. They saw the humans reach the entrance of a narrow energy tunnel, a glowing path created by the unstable pulses. The humans discussed the safest way down, then secured ropes and began descending. Their movements were precise. They communicated constantly, checking each other's safety. Deep inside the tunnel, the walls glowed brighter. Strange patterns appeared on the stone, like symbols etched long ago. The humans examined them and realized they matched the readings of an unknown ancient technology. They moved deeper until they reached a hollow chamber. There, partially buried in glowing stone, they found the remains of an old device. It looked damaged, corroded, and unstable. Captain Aaron scanned it closely. The device was reacting to the planet's core, amplifying energy instead of regulating it. If left untouched, it would cause a chain reaction that could destroy the entire ecosystem. The humans recorded everything and returned to the surface to report their findings. The Virath listened in shock. Their peaceful world had been unknowingly sitting on an ancient threat for centuries. Captain Aaron told them gently that they had two choices: deactivate the device completely or replace its failing parts to stabilize the core. The second option was safer for the planet. It required humans to work even deeper inside the chamber, in an area where heat spikes could reach dangerous levels. The Virath could not understand how humans could face such danger without fear. But the humans simply prepared their tools and double-checked their suits. Their calmness gave the Virath hope for the first time since the crisis began. As the sun set, the humans returned to their base to rest and plan the next big operation. The Virath elders watched them from a distance, whispering among themselves. They realized that the stories about humans were true. These Deathworlders were not frightening because of aggression, but because of their courage, their resilience, and their deep desire to help others. Part 1 ends as the humans prepare for their most dangerous mission yet, ready to enter the heart of the crisis and save a world that is not their own. The morning began with a soft golden light spreading over the Virath city. But there was no feeling of calm. The ground still trembled now and then, and the faint glow rising from the unstable region reminded everyone that the crisis was far from over. The Virath moved quietly through their streets, whispering anxiously, waiting for updates from the humans. Their hopes rested on a species they had only heard stories about, stories of a strange, strong people from a death world who survived storms, cold, heat, and pressure that would break most beings. Stories that seemed unbelievable until now. Inside the temporary human base, Captain Aaron Holt stood over a large display table with his team. They reviewed the scans from the previous day, analyzing the ancient device buried deep below the surface. The holographic image spun slowly, showing the cracked frame, the shifting energy pulses, and the unstable channels connected to the planet's core. It was clear that the device was old, damaged, and reacting unpredictably. The humans discussed the situation in calm voices. Engineer Mara pointed at a glowing section on the hologram and explained that the device was meant to regulate thermal energy. But something had corrupted it. The energy had nowhere to go. So it began radiating outward, shaking the planet and heating the surface. If the device failed completely, the core might collapse or erupt. Neither option was acceptable. Captain Aaron listened, his expression focused. Finally, he said they needed to go back down into the tunnel, deeper this time, and replace the failing parts. Their stabilizer modules could temporarily control the energy until they repaired enough of the device to function safely. It would be dangerous, but it was the only way to save the planet. The team agreed without hesitation. They had worked in collapsing mines, underwater pressure zones, volcanic chambers, and unstable reactors before. They understood risk, but they also understood responsibility. If there was a chance to save lives, humans took it. Outside the base, the Virath elders waited anxiously. When the humans stepped out in their thick protective suits, the elders approached them with nervous politeness. Their leader, Elder Tivar, asked if the humans were certain they wished to continue. His voice trembled, not from fear of the humans but fear for them. The Virath could not imagine surviving the intense heat and pressure of the tunnel. Captain Aaron assured him gently that they were ready. He explained their plan in simple words, and even though the details were technical, his calm tone helped the Virath understand. The elders thanked the humans many times before stepping back to watch. The human team began the long walk toward the unstable region. A group of Virath followed at a safe distance, watching them like one watches a miracle unfold. The ground shook slightly under their feet, but the humans walked steadily, their equipment secured to their backs. Dust rose around them as they crossed old cracks and tilted land. But not once did they slow down. When they reached the energy tunnel entrance, the glowing walls pulsed faintly, sending waves of heat outward. The Virath would have collapsed within minutes here. But the humans continued preparing as if it were a normal worksite. They secured the ropes, checked their suits, tested their communication systems, and then began their descent. The Virath drones hovered nearby, filming the descent. Elders and citizens watched the live feed from the city center, their hearts full of fear and admiration. The humans disappeared into the tunnel one by one, swallowed by glowing stone and shadow. The tunnel narrowed as they went deeper, forcing them to move sideways at times. Their suit lights reflected off the glowing walls, giving the scene an otherworldly appearance. Eventually, the team reached the hollow chamber again. The ancient device still pulsed weakly, its cracked frame releasing waves of unstable energy. The chamber felt alive, like the heartbeat of the planet was echoing through the stone. The humans spread out, scanning the device from different angles. They confirmed that the pressure inside the core was rising. They did not have much time. Mara set up the stabilizer modules along the base of the device. Each module hummed softly as it activated, forming a temporary energy net around the unstable parts. The shaking of the chamber slowed. The heat became slightly more stable. It was not enough to stop the crisis, but it bought them precious hours. While Mara worked, 2 other engineers used heavy cutters to clear the stone covering the damaged sections. The stone broke away in glowing chunks, revealing smoother surfaces and strange symbols carved into the metal. Captain Aaron studied one of the uncovered sections closely. The symbols were old, unlike anything used in modern technology. The humans moved with practiced coordination. Each action had purpose. Every decision was made with calm discussion. Even when the chamber shook or the heat surged, they continued with steady determination. It amazed the Virath who watched through the drones. They had never seen such focus under pressure. A few hours passed before they uncovered the device's core panel. It was cracked and unstable, radiating dangerous energy. The humans had expected this. They attached cooling clamps and began removing the damaged components. The chamber shuddered again. A crack formed near the tunnel wall, sending small stones falling. Elder Tivar, watching from the city feed, gasped in fear. But the humans barely reacted. They simply adjusted their positions and continued working. Their calmness spread even to the nervous Virath watching them, making the situation feel less hopeless. As the humans replaced more components, the chamber's energy flow changed. It became less chaotic, more rhythmic. But then, unexpectedly, the stabilizer modules flickered. One of them overloaded and shut off. The energy pulses surged instantly, shaking the entire chamber violently. Captain Aaron called out for everyone to brace. The humans planted their boots and held onto the device. Dust rained from above. The glowing walls pulsed like a heartbeat gone wild. The Virath watching held their breath. The shaking slowed again after a few long seconds. The humans quickly replaced the failed stabilizer with a backup. Their breathing was heavy but controlled. They checked their surroundings and continued. There was no sign of fear in their voices. Mara discovered another deep fracture in the device, hidden under a large metal plate. When they removed the plate, they found something shocking. A second layer of technology, older and more complex. This hidden inner layer was still active, sending unpredictable signals into the core. The humans realized the original purpose of the device must have been far more complex than just regulating energy. But now, its broken state was feeding unstable energy into the planet like a clogged artery. They had to repair the inner layer too. It made the task far more difficult. While the humans worked on the deeper section, the tunnel entrance suddenly trembled. A large chunk of stone broke loose and blocked part of the exit path. The Virath watching panicked. If the tunnel collapsed, the humans would be trapped inside the unstable chamber. Captain Aaron ordered 2 engineers to secure the path. They used a portable cutter to slice through the rock. The tool hummed loudly, sparks flying as it worked. The heat inside the chamber rose again. The humans adjusted their suit vents and pressed on. Hours passed. Sweat formed inside their helmets. The air felt heavy. The energy pulses increased and decreased unpredictably. Still, they kept working. They replaced every cracked piece, reinforced every joint, and realigned every unstable connection. Finally, Mara connected the last module to the inner layer. The device dimmed for a moment, then stabilized. The chamber stopped shaking. The heat reduced. The pulses softened into a slow, steady rhythm. The humans stepped back. The device was not fully repaired, but it was stable enough to prevent further danger for now. They needed to return to the surface, bring more tools, and complete the operation. But for the first time since the crisis began, the chamber felt safe enough to breathe in. When the humans climbed out of the tunnel and returned to the surface, the Virath waiting for them broke into relieved murmurs. The elders approached quickly, almost tripping over their own feet. They thanked the humans repeatedly, unable to express their gratitude. Captain Aaron explained gently that this was only the first major step. The planet was safer now, but not saved. They still needed to repair the rest of the inner system and find out why the ancient device existed in the first place. But the Virath felt hope again. Their people smiled for the first time in many cycles. As night fell, the humans returned to their base to prepare for the final stage. The ancient chamber was stable, but the true mystery still waited. Who built the device, why it was hidden, and what risk it still carried. Part 2 ends with the humans ready to face whatever secret lies deeper beneath the planet. The human base was quiet as night settled over the Virath world. Only a few soft lights glowed inside the tents, showing shadows of people moving with calm purpose. The humans were tired from the long day, but none of them spoke about stopping. They sat around the holographic table again, studying the scans they had taken from the ancient chamber. The device was stable for now, but the deeper layers were still a mystery. Captain Aaron Holt watched the rotating hologram carefully. His eyes moved from one glowing section to another, as if trying to solve a puzzle. Mara sat beside him, adjusting the readings and pointing out unusual energy patterns. The inner layer of the device was active in places that made no sense. It was almost as if the device was responding to something hidden even deeper inside the planet. The team talked softly about possibilities. Maybe the ancient builders had designed the machine to protect the core. Maybe they wanted to use the core for something else. Or maybe the device had malfunctioned centuries ago, and no one noticed until now. Their theories were many. But only one thing was certain. They had to return to the chamber and go further down. If there was something beneath the device, it might be the real cause of the instability. Outside the base, the Virath elders waited anxiously. They felt hopeful because the humans had already done so much, but they were also terrified. Every hour the planet's energy readings changed. The ground felt warm in some areas and cold in others. The skies showed faint waves of light at night, like silent warnings. The Virath knew their world depended on what the humans would do next. When the sun rose, the humans prepared once again. They put on their heavy protective suits, checked their equipment, packed more stabilizer modules, and prepared support frames for deeper tunnels. Their calm steps and steady hands brought some peace to the anxious Virath watching them. Elder Tivar approached Captain Aaron with a small crystal pendant, a Virath symbol of gratitude and hope. He offered it shyly, explaining that their ancestors used to give these pendants to those who protected the community. Captain Aaron accepted it with gentle respect and placed it inside a small pocket on his suit. The gesture meant more to him than the elder knew. The team began their journey back to the unstable region. Although the surface was calmer than before, small tremors still shook the ground occasionally. The humans walked through the familiar cracks and tilted land, following the path they had taken many times already. But today felt different. Today they were not just repairing a device, they were uncovering a forgotten truth buried deep below. The energy tunnel entrance glowed with a steady light, brighter than before. The walls hummed softly, as if responding to the changes the humans had made the previous day. The team secured their ropes once again and descended into the glowing tunnel. The Virath drones followed, transmitting every moment to the city. When the humans reached the chamber, they checked the repaired sections. Everything held steady. The device pulsed gently, no longer chaotic, but Mara noticed a faint vibration under her boots, a subtle rhythm that did not match the device's pulse. It was coming from below. Captain Aaron ordered the team to investigate the floor. They scanned the ground and discovered a hidden layer of stone covering another tunnel. This one went deeper, almost vertical. The walls around it had the same ancient symbols carved into them. The humans studied the markings and realized they matched the inner layer they had seen yesterday. With careful movements, they cleared the stone, revealing the entrance to the deeper tunnel. Heat rose from inside, stronger and sharper. The humans adjusted their suits and moved forward. The tunnel was narrow and winding, and it took great effort to descend. Their suits warned them of pressure spikes and rising temperature, but they kept going. After a long descent, the tunnel opened into a second chamber, smaller but brighter. At the center stood another device, different from the first one. This one was round, with several glowing rods pointed toward the ground. It emitted soft pulses that matched the strange vibrations the humans had felt earlier. The sight left the humans silent for a moment. They realized that this was the true core control unit. The device above was only a regulator. This deeper device was the heart of everything, and it was failing. The Virath, watching from the city, were shocked. They had never known about this hidden chamber. Their species had never built anything like it. It had to be from a civilization far older than theirs. The humans approached the device carefully. The energy readings were unstable. The pulses were uneven, almost like the machine was struggling to function. The rods glowed brightly at random intervals, sending bursts of heat into the chamber. If one of those bursts became too strong, the entire chamber could collapse. Captain Aaron instructed Mara to map the device's structure while the others searched for ways to stabilize it. They discovered cracks running along the rods, wires burnt out from ancient wear, and control panels that flickered weakly. Everything was failing. As they worked, the ground shook again. A loud rumble echoed through the chamber. Dust fell from above. One of the glowing rods flashed brightly, sending a wave of heat across the floor. The humans staggered but remained steady. Their suits absorbed the worst of it, but time was clearly running out. Mara shouted that the central conductor was overheating. If they didn't cool it soon, the device could break completely. Captain Aaron ordered 2 engineers to set up cooling modules around the conductor while the others repaired the outer rods. The humans moved quickly, placing the modules, adjusting their settings, reconnecting burnt wires, and locking in new stabilizers. The Virath watching held their breath. The humans were working inside conditions that would have been fatal for them in seconds. Yet the humans kept going, focused and determined. Every movement was a mix of urgency and skill. When the cooling modules activated, the rods dimmed slightly. The device's pulses slowed. The humans took the chance to replace the cracked parts. They used high-heat tools to cut away damaged sections and attach new ones. Sparks flew. The chamber shook again and again, but the humans never stopped. Finally, after many tense minutes, the last damaged rod was replaced. The device glowed steadily, no longer flickering. The ground stopped shaking. The heat calmed. The pulses became rhythmic and gentle, like a quiet heartbeat. The humans stepped back slowly. Captain Aaron checked the readings. Everything was stable. Not perfect yet, but no longer dangerous. The planet would not collapse. The energy core would recover. Cheers broke out in the Virath city. Elders embraced each other. Children laughed and pointed at the drone screens. Some cried with relief. For the first time in many cycles, their world felt safe. The humans climbed back through the tunnel and returned to the upper chamber. They made final checks on the first device, ensuring both systems worked in harmony. Then they climbed to the surface, where the Virath waited with grateful hearts. Elder Tivar stepped forward with tears in his eyes. His voice trembled as he thanked the humans, not just for saving their planet but for showing kindness, courage, and patience. He told them that the Virath would remember this moment for all future generations. Captain Aaron replied that humans only did what they believed was right. Helping others was part of who they were. The Virath listened carefully, deeply moved by his words. Over the next few days, the humans taught the Virath how to monitor the ancient devices and maintain the stabilizers. The Virath learned eagerly, proud that they could now protect their world with newfound knowledge. Before leaving, the Virath held a quiet ceremony. They gave the humans honorary symbols of guardianship, a rare and meaningful tradition. They called the humans the steadfast ones, the ones who walked into danger when others could not. When the human fleet prepared to depart, the Virath filled the sky with shimmering lights, a farewell message visible even from space. The humans smiled from inside their ships, touched by the gesture. As the fleet left orbit, the Virath planet glowed peacefully below. The crisis was over. The forgotten danger had been uncovered and repaired, and a new friendship had formed between two very different species. In the quiet of the stars, Captain Aaron sent a final message to the Virath. If they ever needed help again, humanity would always come. And the Virath sent their own message across the galaxy. When crisis arises, call Earth. The Deathworlders will answer.